I am short. And as bad as that sounded about getting the gift of Bitcoin, believe it or not, and I'm not just saying it was part of the plan. I did expect Bitcoin to drop. I thought for a long time we're going to drop below 5,000, shake out a lot of longs. We need a lot of discouragement. And at that point, the technicals will kick in, I think around the 4,000 or 3,000 mark. So I actually was expecting it to drop. I am short. I will cover. And because there's so much there's so much realized volatility in this market. This thing, on average, most of the trades.
Hold on, Todd. Bitcoin, we hardly knew you, but you will occupy.
Hold on. I mean, listen, I've got a couple things I want to say here. This is not the funeral for Bitcoin whatsoever. So follow me over here to the thing. I'm going to tell you what's going on here. Couple different things. Let's look at the Bitcoin bug that we just retired, and all of a sudden we're declaring that the Bitcoin funeral is here. You know when that Bitcoin bug came on? That was just around the high. So when we start to declare a funeral and things get really horrible, sentiment is approaching the lows. So hopefully we'll use that funeral bug to say, hey, you know what? That was near the lows. Number two, Bob talked about the Japan exchanges ordered to improve business conditions. It's actually a good thing. Short run, it's going to be a little tough because they're stopping new accounts from coming in, but actually they're cleaning up the system. They're making sure it's more robust, making sure it's better for people. And then finally, there was news today that Mt. Gox is going into rehabilitation, and they're going to distribute the rest of the $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. But here's what's great about that. They're not going to distribute it until at least Q1 of 2019. Everybody thinks all of a sudden there's going to be a wave of selling. Not happening now. So let's go to the chart and see where we are. Now, when I walked over here, look at this. Okay, we've had this big downtrend, 65, 70% peak to down here. That is not unusual for Bitcoin. It's very painful. But look at this, where we are right here, okay? Guess where we were? That was only back in November, okay? You know where we were a year ago? $2,500. So, let's put this in perspective. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't go lower. This is a bear market, and bear markets, we don't know where they end. There's usually some kind of big crescendo to that. But this is by no means the funeral for Bitcoin.
So for a bubble, Todd, I mean, it pretty much lines up with what you are saying, because did I hear you correctly? You think Bitcoin is actually going to go down to 4,000?
I do, absolutely. And most of I was right there next to you. I'd show you the chart I'm looking at. And it's a beautiful uptrend. This correction that we've seen from just below 19,000 down, in terms of a percent drop, it's inconsequential. It's very much expected compared to the gains that we've seen since 2015. The correction I'm basing this on was 2014 to 2015. That was the whole Mt. Gox debacle. And Bitcoin took about a 78% hit, which right now we're about 2/3 of the way through that equal correction. So based on a beautiful uptrend on a percent change chart, you can't look at Bitcoin on a traditional, what they call linear chart, arithmetic chart. You've got to go to semi-log, which it's a little bit more technical, but it basically equalizes your percent.
Is it more accurate? Or less accurate.
It's more accurate.
And I asked you because the price data for Bitcoin is very limited. I mean, its existence is a shorter time frame than a lot of stocks that we trade.
Right. But that doesn't change the fact that this has massive percent moves per week. As I said, 17% right now is the average high to low range, which is the lowest that Bitcoin has ever seen. There was times when it was 20, 30, 40% a week. So if I'm down 30% in Bitcoin in this contest, that's nothing. It can make that up in 2 weeks. So, and again, when you compare that with the technicals, and this is a very technically driven market, we're right on schedule. Not to be pompous at all. I actually planned on being short. I'm going to begin to move out of my shorts, press the long side, and if the technicals work and sentiment comes back, we should be no problem back.
Your Netflix and your NVIDIA are doing quite well.
Well, thanks. I'm going to stay humble. And
I think you should have just gone with any stock that began with the letter N.
I promise. I know I can't promise. I feel very confident where I am. If I'm wrong, I'll take all those college kids at Stevens out for a celebration dinner in Hoboken. Right. I promise that.